Hello, my name is Jeremy, just your average everyday guy. That is until sometime in my early 30s, I developed a spinal condition known as ankylosing spondylitis. It took me from this, 6 foot tall, to this, not 6 foot tall. But I wasn't going to let that get me down forever, so eventually I kicked some bad habits and started fighting back. I still get some pretty strange looks, but I'm now doing what I love, traveling and adventuring. My goal is to show other people with disabilities or anyone facing challenges that your best days don't have to be behind you and that there's always hope. So thanks for joining me, the Handicapped Hiker.
On the last episode, I explored Ozark National Scenic Riverways in southern Missouri. The plan for today was to explore historic Route 66 on my way through Missouri and most of Oklahoma. But I knew going into this trip that I had some medical obligations that I might not be able to get out of. And sure enough, I have to return to Ohio. So now the plan is to drive 10 hours straight to a hotel in Santa Rosa, New Mexico, get up early and drive 2 hours to the airport in Albuquerque, fly back to Cleveland, rent a car, drive 2 hours to my home, get up early, take care of my appointments, drive back to Cleveland, fly back to Albuquerque, pick up my car, and drive 30 minutes south to Belen, where I got pulled over in front of the hotel for not stopping at the stop sign. This one right here that I'm stopped at, but didn't stop at. I stated my case, but chose not to continue arguing with the officer, and she let me off with a warning, which is great because I totally stopped. And it's not like I was dancing while wearing a sombrero, which, believe it or not, is against the law in New Mexico. Let's get day 9 started with a 3-hour drive south and get this trip back on track. If you're like I was before visiting here, you probably think New Mexico is nothing but desert. Well, a lot of it is, but it's also quite diverse. It's home to the largest national forest in the United States and 9 ski resorts, including one of the longest ski lifts in the country. You don't find many of those in the desert. But the state's greatest contribution to the world is the breakfast burrito, or the atomic bomb. I guess that one could go either way. Only one is delicious, but both could be explosive. Welcome to White Sands National Park. Like many other parks, White Sands started out as a national monument back in 1933. It just recently became a national park in 2019. It's located in the Tularosa Basin, completely surrounded by the White Sands Missile Range. To the east is Holloman Air Force Base, the town of Alamogordo, and the Sacramento Mountains. To the west are the San Andres Mountains. At 149,000 acres, the park protects about half of the largest white sand dune field in the world. But technically, it's not sand. It's gypsum crystals, with a similar consistency of sand. My brain keeps telling me it looks like snow, but stepping out into the 100-degree heat will put an end to that confusion. My first hike today is the Dune Life Nature Trail, a 1-mile loop showcasing the area's plants and animals. You'd probably think a place like this would be lifeless, but there's actually about 100 plant species and over 800 animal species, mostly invertebrates and mostly white in color. I had originally planned on hiking the Alkali Flats Trail, the most popular and challenging trail in the park. But since I got here much later than originally planned, it's already far too hot for that. The Park Service recommends not starting any hikes here after the temperature reaches 85 degrees. I'm doing it anyways, but only on easier, shorter trails that I know I can manage. This gypsum sand is as much as 30 feet deep, and some of the dunes reach 60 feet above the road level.
It's dead quiet out here, except for me gasping for air. Not a lot of people out here today, probably because it's 100 degrees. Pretty awesome out here though. Not a difficult walk, it's just the heat. Just taking a slow pace, drinking fluids. I've got a sweatband on and a sun hat. And sunscreen, of course. Just taking my time. Still though, how do I always end up hiking in sand? I always say I'm never going to do it again, and here I am. Just such a cool place. Such a different landscape. Now uphill. Uphill and sand is my favorite thing. Almost there. Okay, flat land.
All right, that was a great hike. Now let's hop back on the main loop road and continue further into the dunes. The trail that I wanted to show you next is the Interdune Boardwalk, a completely wheelchair accessible, elevated pathway with a shade canopy, so anyone can get a good look at the dunes as well as the plant and animal life up close. Unfortunately, it was closed while I was here, and from what I read, it's closed pretty often, which is a real shame. It's also worth noting that sometimes the entire park closes during nearby missile testing. As always, check the park's website for alerts, closures, and information on accessibility and ranger programs. If hiking in the blazing sun isn't your thing, the park sometimes offers ranger-led sunset strolls and moonlight hikes.
It really just looks like snow everywhere.
Another popular thing to do here is sled riding down the dunes. There are places nearby to purchase or rent sleds, and apparently with a little wax, it's just like sliding down snow, without the wet socks.
Alright, I'm going up to see what the view looks like, folks. Well, it's easier to climb than snow. Of course, when you think you're at the top, it keeps going. There we go, now we're at the top. Beautiful, but scorching hot. I had planned on spending a lot more time here at White Sands, but because of all the driving and flying I had to do over the last 3 days, I arrived here late this morning. My original plan was to stay at the KOA campground in Alamogordo, just a few miles away from the park here. Get up very early in the morning and start the park. But because I had to fly into Albuquerque last night, I stayed at a hotel about 3 hours away from here. So by the time I got here this morning, it was pretty late. I really wish the accessible trail wasn't closed. I would love to show that to you guys.
On my way out of the park, I decided to stop and do the easy half-mile Playa Trail. A playa is pretty much just a dried-up lake bed, so you can guess what the main feature of this trail is.
Alright. This trail doesn't look super interesting, but I need steps today.
Okay, nothing spectacular, but these steps count too. And at least now I can say I did 2 trails here.
This was the Playa Trail. Short distance. Says a half mile out and back total. But I don't even think it was that long. Sure didn't feel like a quarter of a mile back there. But again, it's in the desert. No shade at all. So even though it's a half mile, bring water.
Now, let's head about an hour north to Valley of Fire's recreation area. This is the Malpais Nature Trail, a 1-mile loop through the Carrizozo Lava Field. Malpais is a Spanish word for bad land. Since tourism didn't exist yet, and they really couldn't do anything else productive with it, they just called this bad land. The lava field was formed about 5,000 years ago when Little Black Peak erupted. It's up to 44 miles long, 6 miles wide, and an amazing 160 feet deep. Yeah, this lava rock is 160 feet deep. And much like White Sands, it would be easy to think a place like this would be lifeless, but it's also home to a diverse range of plants and animals, including mosquitoes. Lots and lots of hungry mosquitoes.
Yeah, I'd rather not see one of those. Surprisingly, there's a lot of mosquitoes out here. And it looks like we gotta do the switchbacks back up. Is it a mirage? Nope. It's the parking lot. Thank God. Oh, we made it. I lived. I'm alive. Oh, thank God. Oh.
Okay, this was a pretty cool trail. And it was really wild going from white sand as far as the eye can see to miles and miles of black lava rock. Even crazier, the two areas are separated by less than 20 miles on the map. But this won't be the last time I see two extreme opposites in this state. So be sure to tune in for the next episode, and we'll see you then. If you enjoyed this video, ever so gently click that like button. Also comment, share, and make sure you're subscribed for free. Thank you for watching.